The vastness and depth of Earth's oceans still haven't been fully explored. There's this whole world down there. It's completely foreign to us. And yeah, as fascinating as that is, the unknown is also what unsettles us the most. Today, we're diving into the world of creepy underwater audio recordings. So join me, your friendly neighborhood host James, as I share with you top 10 disturbing signals heard by submarines. And we're going to kick off this list with the 52 Hertz Whale, aka 52 Blue. This sound belongs to an unidentified whale, and what makes the sound so mysterious is that it belongs to a whale that has never been sighted. The frequency of the sound is higher than any known species of whale that follow its migration patterns. It's been recorded with hydrophones a number of times since the late 80s, and for a long time it was thought to be the only whale emitting this frequency, which is why it's often been referred to as the world's loneliest whale. But in 2010, a second whale call was detected emitting a similar frequency at the same time as our lonely 52 Blue. So is this a rare species of whale that has never been seen before, or is it just one or two whales who happen to have a unique higher pitched call? We're still not certain. Listening to the recording though, there is this haunting kind of aura about it, although I think it's mostly the context that attributes to that. If you have been liking our channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out more than you probably know, and we got videos coming at you at the daily, so don't miss out on anything. Number 9, we have the Biotwang. This next recording was taken in the depths of the deepest and most mysterious place on Earth, the Mariana Trench, and just knowing that makes this one feel kind of freaky. The sound was recorded in 2014 within the Mariana Trench Marine National Monument. Scientists weren't sure what the sound was at first. It sounds almost mechanical, hence why it's referred to as the Western Pacific Biotwang, but it's believed that this could be a new vocalization made by a dwarf minke whale. Sharon Newkirk, a senior faculty research assistant in marine bioacoustics at Oregon State University, was quoted describing the sound, saying, "It's very distinct with all these crazy parts. The low frequency moaning part is typical of a baleen whale, but it's the kind of twangy sound that makes it really unique. We don't find many new baleen whale calls." Yeah, it sounds like a creature that'd be in like a science fiction movie. Someone commented in one of the YouTube videos of the recording that it sounds like something from Metroid Prime, which I can totally hear. I just get images of playing my GameCube and just hearing those weird alien sounds in the background. It's really cool, but considering the fact that this thing is from a real animal deep down in the dark depths of the Pacific Ocean, makes it really creepy as well. Very strange sound and a very perfect name too. Hearing that, I'm like, yeah, that does sound like a Biotwang. Biotwang sounds like a genre of futuristic country music, doesn't it? Like, wanna go hang out, man, play some Biotwang? Number 8, the minke whale Star Wars call. This next sound was recorded in Australian waters and is quite similar to the last one, and then it has, again, this twangy mechanical sound to it, but it is biological, also belonging to a dwarf minke whale. While the first one sounds like a deep guttural moan, this one sounds even more machine-like, which is why the sound has been nicknamed the Star Wars call. It almost sounds like a science fiction laser blaster. For a long time, the sound was recognized, but no one was sure where it actually came from. This recording was taken by Dr. Jason Gadamke and his team in 2001, where it was confirmed the sound was being made by dwarf minke whales, and they couldn't believe it at first. It just sounded so bizarre. Before these recordings were taken and confirmed that the sound was actually biological, a number of whale experts had told Gadamke to contact the Australian Navy to confirm whether or not the sound was actually coming from one of their submarines. So yeah, take a listen. Up next we have knock. This recording was taken by biologists at the National Marine Mammal Foundation after a beluga whale named Knock was discovered making odd noises by a diver in the whale and dolphin enclosure. The diver kept hearing what sounded like voices on the surface and could have sworn he heard someone say repeatedly, "out, out." He thought the sounds were coming from one of his colleagues on the surface. So he swam up and started asking who was telling him to get out. Nobody knew what he was talking about before they eventually realized that Knock was the one making the sounds. It's actually kind of cute because it's a beluga whale and they're adorable, and the fact that it's making a sound. Funny how it was trying to imitate our speech, having spent so much time with humans, but at the same time it also sounds like a dying cat or a robot that's malfunctioning. Not a very pleasant sound. Knock needs to do more vocal training if he hopes to actually communicate with us. Well, if he's even alive anymore. I'm not sure how long beluga whales live for. But. Number 6, the Bloop. Now, this is one you've all probably heard of, but I couldn't help but put it on here. It's quite the sound. So the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA for short, was doing their thing monitoring underwater sounds in the Pacific Ocean when they stumbled upon this eerie recording. The Bloop was like nothing they had ever heard before. It was this crazy low frequency noise that lasted for a whole minute. People were going nuts trying to figure out what could have made such a sound. Of course, wild theories started flying around. Some folks thought it was some kind of massive sea creature, like a supersized version of Nessie or the infamous Kraken. Others were convinced it had to be aliens because whenever we don't know what something is, it's always either a ghost or aliens. But as it turns out, the NOAA scientists had a more down-to-earth explanation. They reckoned that the Bloop was caused by a huge chunk of ice breaking off from a glacier and falling into the ocean. Basically, moral of the story here is scientists often just ruin all the fun, but still a creepy sound. Next on the list we have the lightning strike. This sound was recorded in 1984 by Henry Bass, Roy Arnold, and Anthony Ashley with a hydrophone in the Gulf of Mexico. And it's the sound of lightning striking the open water. Take a listen to this. That is just nuts. When I first heard it, I was immediately like, wait a minute, I know that sound. It sounds like a science fiction weapon, obviously, but more specifically, right. It's exactly like the photon torpedo from Star Trek. Really, really cool. Also kind of terrifying. Not only that though, but this is a pretty rare sound to catch. Lightning often hits on land. It strikes at the highest point, so the ocean isn't typically its main target. I don't really have much to say about this one. It's just a wild sound. Next up, we have the Submarine Volcano. This recording was taken by scientists in 2004 with the use of a hydrophone. It's the sound of NW Rota, a submarine volcano during an eruption. Take a listen to this. The Mariana Volcanic Arc is a bunch of underwater volcanoes found in the western Pacific Ocean, north of Guam. There are at least 20 of these volcanoes just chilling beneath the surface. One of these volcanoes, called NW Rota 1, is submerged pretty deep, with its peak about 517 meters down. And this is the sound of ash and lava fragments bursting forth from it. If I didn't know any better, I'd think this was the sound of a plane taking off, or the sounds of a subway train recorded with like an old MP3 player, but knowing this is a volcano erupting from deep under the ocean definitely makes it a lot scarier. Number 3, Julia. For a long time this sound was unidentified, but it's believed that it likely came from an iceberg. It doesn't make it any less haunting of a sound though. Captured by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, this unique and eerie sound recorded in the ocean puzzled scientists for a long time. When the NOAA placed hydrophones deep in the ocean, they unexpectedly picked up a low frequency sound resembling a haunting, almost ghostly kind of moan. So they referred to it as Julia, of course. I have a hunch one of these scientists had a bad breakup with a Julia at some point in their life or something. It's believed to be produced by the interaction of water and icebergs in certain conditions, but it's still not 100% certain. Want to hear what a submarine firing a torpedo sounds like? Come to the right place. This audio clip is of an American submarine firing a torpedo. You can hear the torpedo launch, followed by the outer hatch closing, and then there's this long kind of silence as the torpedo makes its way to its target before you hear this massive sized, crunchy explosion. It's pretty cool. Take a listen. Definitely not as spooky and eerie as many of the sounds on this list, but I just can't help but imagine how terrifying it would be having a freaking torpedo launched at you. So it's scary enough for that reason. And finally, at our #1 spot, we have the Upsweep. Now, a lot of you have probably heard this one, but my God, is this ever unnerving. Of all the sounds on the list, this is the one that creeps me out the most, and a lot of that is due to the fact that the source of this sound is still unknown. It's on the NOAA's list, unidentified sounds. The Upsweep sound was picked up by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, baby, in the Pacific Ocean. It was first heard in 1991 and is made up of a series of high-pitched sounds that get higher and higher, like something going up in pitch. And again, nobody knows for sure where the sound is coming from or what is causing it. Scientists have been trying to figure it out, but they haven't been able to come up with a definitive answer. And some people think it could be caused by movements in the Earth's crust or underwater volcanoes, but many also think it could be the sounds of unknown sea creatures. One day, hopefully, we will find out for sure. That said though, I've been your host James, and I'll catch you, yes you specifically, in the next video.